You know, we talked about it. I had to get Jez's input on that while we got him. We're going to get into these topics. Lord Attic, there's a game that came out, Spider-Man 2. Dropped a lot of impressions. I know you are probably one of the few people that I've seen besides Big Cloud after you that beat the game already. So yeah, give us your thoughts. Where does it land for you? You know, talk to us. You know, Spider-Man 2 is out here in these streets.
Let me.
Chair, yo. You scaring me, bro. What's going on? Why we got the chill? Why you looking at the camera? What's going on?
Like a Manscaped addendum coming.
Yeah, it's feel like only addicts. Let's go.
Yeah, so I did beat the game. I don't know if you have like a list of questions that you want to ask me.
I mean, for me, my whole thing is I probably got the least hours out of everybody here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'll just jump in with my impressions and then ask you a few questions to build off that. You know, the game looked gorgeous. You know, for me, it was 4K HDR. I was able to turn on the VRR. That 120 hertz is moving. He's zipping around the city. I felt the combat was fast paced. As far as one of my favorite skills, like the momentum swinging, when you got that, but for both, they got the skill tree for both. And then the gadgets with those.
You know, I could never get the loop-de-loop thing to work.
Oh, you can't get the loop-de-loop? Oh, wow.
I tried so many times. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's bugged, because at this point, I don't know what is what, but yeah. I would try it, because it literally just says hold R2 when you're going down. Mm-hmm. And every time he just strings up. Like, he never does the full loop-de-loop.
Yeah, for me, it was acrobatic, the rhythm, the parrying, the special moves. It was a nice flow to it. King's killing me with that, with that Spider-Man. We gonna get to you, King. But the thing I do want to ask also, because I so far I probably got like 5-6 hours. I was playing Tekken this weekend. I'm just gonna be honest. But the thing I will say to Solve, still don't like his voice, Miles's voice. Yeah, I hate Miles's voice, but I gotta be honest. At first, I didn't know how to take the bug situation. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I want to ask you, Attic. It's
Did
like,
you come across any bugs?
Bro. All right. I'm not.
You didn't even play that long.
Bro. That's all right. I can't spoil I shouldn't spoil the name of the first boss.
No, don't spoil any of it.
Okay.
I would say, don't
so I won't. All I will say, the first boss encounter that you encounter, it was a lot of swinging involved.
So just to clarify, we're talking about the tutorial boss, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
basically,
I believe so. Yeah, the start of the game, whatever the start of the game, whatever is the first major boss that you fight. There's a sequence of swinging, and then you have to press an input, like a triangle or whatever, and then that proceeds, and then you knock things down. As it was going, it stopped recognizing the triangle input, and the boss had this much energy left. And I'm like, I'm doing it multiple times. Like, what is going on? It was so bad the game wouldn't progress. I had to die and then reload the save, and then it worked. And I'm just like game progression. I'm like, yo, what's up with that? Now, of course, there's going to be little glitches here and there. And the last point I'll say, I'll give it to you, Attic, because I'm curious about your experience, is there was I'm trying not to spoil. There's a stealth section in a school. And I was in this section, and you gotta string somebody up, and I had to get to this point, and the game is telling me L2 string up or whatever, right?
You wouldn't string up, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, I'm sitting there like, what is going on? Again, I have to pause the game, kill myself, get spotted or whatever, and actually load the last checkpoint, and then it worked. So my issue, this is so early, I am surprised that I thought it was going to be graphical bugs or something. That's not like that comes in the game. But game progression bugs really bothered me. I was getting frustrated. I was surprised to see that happen. And I do want to shout out ACG, who put out a statement in reference to the bugs he's encountered. It seems like there was a day one patch that may have made things worse. I don't know if there was just different from the reviewers. And shout out to John Linneman, who Jez Corden had on the Xbox 2 recently with Ran. You know, he confirmed it. He was like, he wondered if the patch messes up, because now he's encountering all these bugs. So, Attic, I'm going to give it to you or give it to y'all, whoever played. I definitely experienced it.
Yeah, it's a very buggy game. My PlayStation soft crashed 3 times.
Oh,
where it would do that. It would do that like a little loading thing. We want to tell PlayStation. Is that okay with you? Like, I had that happen 3 times.
You said it crashed 3 times?
Yeah. It didn't like the whole PlayStation didn't crash. It just booted back to the menu 3 times.
Oh, it just kicked you out. Just get out of here.
I had multiple menu cues where, like Cog was saying, you click something, and I had to the point where I was fighting in a certain Coliseum thing, and it was like, yo, push this button and this button, and I had to keep. It felt like to me if I didn't press, and I kept dying, so I had to I would sit there, I would fight these individuals, and then if I died and I went back to it, it glitched again. So I was literally clicking the restart checkpoint 4 or 5 times to get one run through, and then if I died, I'd have to reset it another 4 or 5 times to get another run through. Because what was going on is it was like glitching. It wasn't registering that the buttons worked.
Yes.
And it's just like, then I had a time, there's like and people said, I did the side mission. I didn't do the activities, like the prowler stuff. I didn't do none of that stuff. Like the little, I call it their version of book bags. I didn't do none of that. And the funny thing is you don't need none of that, to be honest with you, because maybe in Spectacular, I see like Persona's playing on Spectacular, even Smooth for some reason is playing on Spectacular. So they kind of like put a lot of that with like the hero points and stuff where you can actually add on to your stuff. Tell me how I upgraded 2 natural stats, 2. And tell me how I didn't have much issues in this game. Like I would say the difficulty of this game is.
Yeah, it's difficulty with them dogs.
I would say that the game difficulty is very low. It is. It's very low. I was a little bit disappointed with that. I personally felt like, because they took away like the little gadget wheel, now everything's like it's at like L1
R1, yeah.
Which is a way better system.
I like it. Yeah, I like
way better system. But the problem is when you make stuff simpler, it's easier in the actual game. Like I was getting to the point where nothing was touching me. Nothing. And then there's stuff that go on in the future that nothing really ain't touching me. Like, and because I talked to King, I was like, King, I thought I knew a little bit about Spider-Man. Stuff was happening on this. Like, did an Insomniac do this, or is this a real person? I was Googling them.
Yeah, like, to go to contact King for the lore.
And one thing I want to really, I want to really give a shout out to them. They really captured Peter with the symbiote suit on, because obviously we've seen him in it in the trailers where his personality changes, like it's just how you would expect it to be, and they did a really good job.
Right.
I beat it in like probably 12-13 hours. Like I said, I didn't do none of the I didn't do most of the activity stuff. I didn't care, to be honest with you. They tied it to, it's like I said, they tied it to stats. You can get your HP up, your focus up. I focused all on the focus thing, because to me, I can heal myself with focus. Why I need HP?
Why anything else? So you did, but did you level up? Because you got Miles' skill tree, then you got Peter, and then you got the combination of both.
I loved how they did that.
I like how they did that. That was dope. That was dope.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. You don't need none of that either.
Really?
Like, for the most part. Now, all that makes the game significantly easier. But just how they do the countering system, the new parry system, that's all you really need.
That parry is crazy.
You could probably beat this game. Now, obviously, I did update all that stuff. I updated all the skills. But you could realistically easily beat this game with just the parry and the dodging.
What about the fly with the suit with the glide now? How you like
100% better.
That glide is fire.
I think I'd have collected book bags if it was in this.
You wasn't taking photos for the dude. You wasn't running around.
No. Speaking of the photos, the very first time you did the photo thing, because they're like, oh, get on top of a building and take a picture. Yeah, I'm sure you guys know it's at the very beginning of the game. Tell me how I lagged through the building. Oh, and I was in the building on the bottom of the building, and I can still bring up the picture, but when I'm supposed to be taking the picture is above me. So I had to reload the checkpoint. That was the first issue I had. It's like I said, I had multiple audio and visual glitches. Yeah, it wasn't bad audio. It was just like buzzing, like certain like key effects,
like a bug.
No, it would be like let's say the electricity sound. Sometimes that would stay a little longer than it should have. Yeah, and then I had
Is the electro here?
I had a lot of like clipping in certain areas. There, now obviously people say, well, Addict, they were, there's a lot of people you can actually go in the photo mode and look like there's clipping, but no, there's actual clipping in the game. Like there's no denying that. Apparently, if you take, I saw someone on Twitter, and you can't Photoshop this. This was live. They were on the bike. And they were clipping through every NPC on the sidewalk. So it's like the game was like, take this area, this middle area. But if you go on the left or right, none of the NPCs are registering you're on a bicycle.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know which part you're talking about. Okay. Look, yeah. I didn't challenge the game that way, but I heard people did, yeah.
Here's the thing. Besides the photo mode thing, because that's you should be ashamed of yourself. Besides that, people will say, well, Addict, some of these Xbots are they're trying to break the game. Okay. They paid X amount of dollars to try to break the game. You know what shouldn't happen? The game should break. And little stuff like falling through the map. I don't care what people try, you shouldn't fall through the map. And then people are sitting there and they're like, oh, these are just small. No, there is multiple. Anytime you have to reload a checkpoint, that's a game breaking.
That's what I was about to ask you, because that's what surprised me. Listen, clipping happens. Your feet is uneven on the surface.
About that.
No, not you.
I was saying, that's what I say. I didn't say nothing about that. And the funny thing is just like none of that bothered me. You know why? I think that they got a huge pass on this because their checkpoint system is extremely easy. They have checkpoints for everything. Yeah, so absolutely. Realistically, if you have a glitch that happens, you have to reload the last checkpoint. It's probably going to be 2 minutes back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm glad you said. I'm glad you mentioned that you had the table, which was a game progression bug where you literally cannot go forward because of whatever is not registering or whatever. But I'm glad. But I know we talked about bugs. Last thing I want to say before we move on is just that you beat it, bro. Like, you beat it, right? So, gameplay experience, like, is it one of the top joints ever? Is this PlayStation's best exclusive?
To me, it's the best PlayStation 5 game.
That's crazy.
Even though the bugs and stuff annoyed me, there was a one time, even when I was in that part where I had to probably spent an hour reloading checkpoints just to fight this one particular fight. I was like, let's do it. I really enjoyed it. And, I'm a huge person on boss fights. I was very critical of the boss fights in Spider-Man 1. It's like they listened to exactly what I thought. Like, because the boss fights in this game, completely on a different level. Multiple areas. Sometimes you chasing them, sometimes you not chasing them. They're changing the ways you fight them. They're changing the conditions you fight them. They're like phenomenal boss fights. And especially the last boss fight, I'm not going to say what it is, who it is, or anything. That is some of the best. Like, what's the word you use when you determine how a fight is done?
Mechanics or
no? People do it in like actual fights, like fight scenes. Choreography of that fight is intense. It kept me on my the edge of my seat the whole time. I love like. The bantering between people is just insane in this game.
I give it that.
And then when you add like, here's the thing. I didn't know, because obviously it's not a spoiler, Venom's in the game.
Right.
I didn't know that when you put that suit on, it changed you to that degree. I just thought it made you more aggressive. I didn't know it changes your personality pretty much.
Symbiote, baby.
Yeah, symbiote takes over you.
And that is the single-handedly best narrative thing when you add that symbiote in this giant mixing pool known as Spider-Man. I feel like the relationship between Peter and Miles is phenomenal. This.
So what would you give it though?
Yeah, what's the score?
I want to give it a 9, but those glitches, man, I got to give it a 8.
Okay, cool.
And it's just like the game's that good. It really is. It's you know, even all these issues, I wouldn't even say wait for a day 1 patch. Just hit that restart checkpoint over and over. It's just like it's a good game. It really is. It's fun.
So the person that advocates for people taking time with broken games, don't put them games out, bugs and stuff like that. You said just buy the game, and if you encounter the bug, just go back to the checkpoint. Okay, I get it.
I have an issue with how the developers and stuff are handling it. Apparently they put the wrong flag in the game as well.
Oh, Soft, can we get the resident?
The developers are taking ownership. They're taking accountability. That's my issue.
You talking about the Cuban flag?
Yeah, when they had the Cuban flag.
Oh, yeah.
That's Lord Puerto Rico. Do we?
Yeah. Okay. So, see, because I initially looked at it quickly, and I just wanted to make sure that they hadn't put the old Puerto Rican flag, which the blue part of the flag is lighter than what it is now. They changed it to make it more akin to the colors of the United States flag. But no, this is the Cuban flag. This is the Cuban flag.
Yeah, that is egregious. That is egregious.
I mean, but quality control is key over there.
Yeah, something's
that is egregious.
Something's going on. And it's just like
Rome is burning.
Now, Insomniac has responded and said that they're going to fix it, but yeah, that especially with Miles's background from Puerto Rico
and them not having made that type of mistake in his game, and then being so good about authenticity when it came to especially Christmas time. Like Christmas time, you get Christmas time Puerto Rican stuff wrong, they're gonna be riots in the street, and they kind of got it right. So I mean, it happens, but it was,
but we don't get the flag right.
They got pasteles, they got pernil, they got it all.
They had whole conversations in Spanish, but couldn't get the flag right.
Yeah.
Hold on, now we're gonna open it up to solve it, King. But I got it because I know Jez, resident Xbox guy. But is playing Spider-Man 2 something you would be interested in? It's something that you got your eye. I know you love the MCU and you love Marvel, Lord Jez. These are your favorite type of games.
Nah, I'm just not a superhero guy, man. Like, I sort of have some passing interest in Batman and DC, but like Marvel's just, it's way too colorful and happy.
I love his disgust.
I want a Spawn game or a Judge Dredd game on that sort of quality level. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of emo, I guess. But but like looking at it from the outside, and someone who Sunset Overdrive was the first ever AAA game that I reviewed. The first ever one that I had a review code for. Like God knows how long ago this was now. Yeah. Like this is before I was like professional or whatever. I like reviewed it on my own blog. So Insomniac's kind of special to me in a sort of weird way.
Yes.
But so like looking at it from the outside and seeing like the technical capability of the studio and how they've sort of people say they've been carrying Sony, right? And they're kind of like they've been so consistent with their delivery of games and high quality games and critically acclaimed games. So it's kind of impressive looking from the outside. It doesn't appeal to me personally. I'm not going to run out and buy a PS5 for it. But I'm glad that people are enjoying it, I guess.
I do have one more question for you specifically. I know this is not your style of game, but I guess the question, since we're on the subject of bugs, and I see where King is about to go, I think, but I want to ask you this one, just like, what do you feel about, some Xbox fans felt upset that Starfield was really penalized for their bugs at launch, and now with affecting the Metacritic score, whereas, Spider-Man, it's coming out now that there are, a lot of technical issues and bugs with it. I'm not going to go down the media bias path, but what do you think about...
I'm not going to go down the media bias path.
But I have to ask you, what do you think about bugs affecting review score in general? You work your Windows Central. You cover a lot of games. Like, how much does that factor into for your reviews?
You're talking to a guy who gave Cyberpunk 10 out of 10 at launch. So,
Wow.
You were playing the PC version. You was good.
Yeah, I was definitely on the PC version. But even the PC version had like some bugs and quirks. Like I remember when I was reviewing it, there was a sequence where, like, a pretty emotional sequence where the character model had come out of sync with the camera. So like the character model was sort of like, the camera was moving, but the character kept sliding out of shot, and I was like, man, that really sucks, because it's like, you know, it's emotional impact moment. But like, that's the only bug that I can remember from reviewing Cyberpunk on my PC, you know. But like, there was a naivety with me where I was kind of like, man, it's so weird they wouldn't give us an Xbox review code. I'm sure it's fine though. And now I've learned my lesson, you know. So it's like, when the devs insist on a PC version and they're like, the Xbox codes will come at launch, then it's kind of like, okay, there's something wrong with the console version. So there was a teachable moment for me, but some reviewers are more sensitive to that thing than others. I personally don't really care that much about bugs, you know, unless it's something like constant crashing or, you know, just glitches that constantly interfere with gameplay and stuff. The problem, like, I think it was Paul Tassi from Forbes put out an article recently where it was like, social media really blows bugs out of proportion, because people take the little clips and and they're just like, and it presents the whole game in that frame of you know, that frame, and it could be like you've had a 30 hour long experience, and maybe experienced two bugs that were worth clipping to put on Twitter or something. And that was my experience with Cyberpunk on PC. Like, I played the game for 30 hours through to review, and then I maybe had like 2 major issues with the game. And I remember this other issue where, like, sometimes cars would clip through the floor, and there was another issue where sometimes guns would float in the air after you'd killed an enemy. Like, the gun hadn't properly registered the fact that it was no longer being held by an NPC, and it wouldn't hit the ground, right? So, like, and it was just like, those things didn't bother me that much. And maybe they bother some reviewers more than others, or some gamers more than others, but I don't really care about bugs, you know. And things can be fixed and polished and patched and stuff, and it's like, is the underlying game, you know, does it work? Is it playable? Is it functional? You know, and definitely it's obviously preferable if, you know, the game you're paying $70 for is completely 10 out of 10 polished through mirror sheen. But as games get increasingly more complex and our expectations grow in terms of, you know, complexity and overlapping systems and that kind of thing, bugs and shit happens occasionally. Like,
fair enough.
I just think it's like, you know, I've got bigger problems. I got bigger problems to worry about than like a floating gun or an NPC getting stuck in a lamppost or something. Get some real problems.
Get some real problems. Fair enough. That's where you at. Lord Solve, your experience in Spider-Man 2, how we feeling, impressions, where you at?
Yeah, so I have maybe like 5 or 6 hours in, and I downloaded it right at midnight, and I didn't play. I got up early to play a little bit, right? So, different to Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales, I played those 2 on my previous television. So I played them in ray tracing performance mode.
Gotcha.
So here I was like, you know what? Got the new TV. Let me try out the fidelity mode in conjunction with VRR and the 120 hertz mode on at the same time. And from the onset of the game, like at the outset, it was clippy, it was weird, it was bugging out. So I was like, all right, let me turn off this VRR and just leave it 120 and see if that runs fine. And that fixed it. So I fixed it, and I did like that first boss battle. I actually left it in the middle of the first boss battle, and I didn't come back to it until last night. When I come back to it last night, I had to go do a restart because apparently some kind of patch or something was downloaded, and now the VRR was fixed, and I could run it in fidelity mode with VRR full on. Nice. On VRR, I think on automatic or something like that. Yeah,
automatic.
Or smooth or something like that.
Yeah, smooth automatic with the 120. Yeah.
Right, and I had the 120 on as well, and it was smooth as butter.
Woo!
It was crispy. So beautiful. So I'm going to be frank, I didn't have a lot of the glitches that people are talking about. I only played like 5 or 6 hours, but I haven't had those issues. The only thing that for me happened was I had 1 or 2 little audio glitches where the like background music was garbled a little bit, then it fixed itself. And then another thing that I had was when I like to run up the buildings, and at the top of the building, hit X and shoot myself off and continue my momentum. So for a little while there, the X prompt wasn't coming up, and it wasn't. Well, when I got to the top of the building, he would just run up to the top of the building and just not sling himself over.
That. Yeah, I've had that.
And I was like, wow, why is it not reacting? But then after a while, that also sort of fixed itself. It happened a couple of times and it fixed itself. And then since then, haven't really had anything major in terms of glitches. Just the idea that sometimes when when you hit the two trigger buttons to try to zip to a point, every now and again he won't zip, he won't land on the point per se. He'll get there and do that same thing where he's kind of floating in place and just drops down.
Right.
And then when you compare that to remastered off the bat, to me was like this perfect feeling, sort of like none of that was broken really. So that honestly the only thing in terms of bugs and glitches that has affected me so far.
Okay.
In terms of what I feel about the game is gorgeous.
Game's beautiful.
The game is beautiful. Aesthetically, playing it on that fidelity mode, seeing, the added sort of, we pay attention to those little things. So like the added fidelity to the ray trace sort of reflections and shadows really makes a difference. Although like I said, I played ray tracing performance before, and before that difference wasn't stark. I haven't even gone to it yet. I'm going to try it, but I haven't gone to it because the fidelity mode has been so good. The density of just the people in the city walking down, just going down. One thing that was weird to me is that he doesn't have a walk animation now. It's like a creep animation. He stays over. It's just weird. I'm like, where's the walk animation? And he's just creeping around like the people on the ground. So that was very weird though. Little things like that. But overall, the game is just gorgeous. The addition of Brooklyn and Queens, the addition,
Queens in the building.
The addition of the wings, like the city feels so much more alive. They really did a great job with that.
Let me address something real quick in the chat. So, people sitting there saying, where was this energy with Cyberpunk? Where was this energy with Lords of the Fallen? Those games were genuinely broken. There's difference between a game having bugs and being an inconvenience and a game not functioning correctly.
Yeah, you
so
guys
stop
just
acting like they're the same. Because you guys were willing to go, where was that energy for Starfield then? Because there were bugs in Starfield, but I told you guys, I educated and said these are the issues I had, but there has been patches that is put out, but I would still recommend Starfield. Where was that energy, chat?
Yeah.
Where was that energy? Say, where's that energy?
I love y'all, but if y'all here just to hate for the sake of hating, go play a game.
Just wait for
King. Just wait for King.
I give y'all the opportunity to do y'all due.
Just wait for King. He got this.
Don't worry. Yeah. The devil gonna get his due today.
Continue.
So the game is a gorgeous game, and to me, the things that they've done to sort of elevate the city and make it feel more alive is great. I found that I love Miles as a character. I've said it before. I'm not a fan of his voice.
Me too.
He doesn't sound like a New Yorker. He sounds like a Cali kid. Like he's and I love the apart from how the voice sounds, the performance is good. I just don't like the tone. He does not sound like a New Yorker. That's just my beef with him. But overall, like moveset, the things he can do in conjunction with Peter, I think is very cool. Although for me, it's like, I get it putting them together in one game, but it feels like to me this is a Peter story, right? I want to see how they incorporate Miles into the story, right? It's very interesting to me, but at the same time, the symbiote story, whatever, that's a Peter story to me. So I'm like, I'm kind of sticking to Peter in that regard. But Miles's moveset is super, it's super fun and interesting. His his athleticism and how acrobatic he is in conjunction with like the Venom powers make him super fun to use. The things that they've done to combat, to simplify it, to Addict's point, to me, I really enjoyed that. The fact that everything is on face buttons now. You just press R1 or L1 and it happens very quickly. I mean, everything they've done to combat, just beautiful. Like the additional sort of finishing moves and things like that. The way that they kind of, you know how these games, the sequels will tell you like, oh, you lost all your powers, you got to start all over again. It's kind of like that, but it doesn't feel that way. Like in the joint powers, you see that there's certain powers that were in the skill tree beforehand that it's like, oh, okay, I did this before, whatever. But they've added stuff as well. So it kind of feels like at the end of it, once you get everything out, it might be a little overwhelming to pick certain things that you like and dislike. But again, the first one was real good at you kind of picking the way you play as Spider-Man, right? Your different moves and stuff like that, the different gadgets that you employ makes each person's gameplay style a little bit different. So I enjoyed that. In terms of story so far, I think it's what they try to do, and I don't know that I dislike it at all. Like there are quiet moments that they create in there that they're cinematic moments that have gameplay interspersed in them, whether like flashback moments or stuff like that. That what they're trying to do is just give you sort of backstory on these characters, their relationships, and things like that. And I think for the most part it works, because the thing about it, like for me, like in comics, like you read a comics are these ongoing stories that have been going on forever, right? But at the same time, they're not a novel, right? A novel is meant to give you every little detail in something, and then when you take that novelization and turn it into a game or a movie, you have to kind of whittle that down a little bit. So here they're like, okay, we're gonna fill in these blanks in a way. And it's kind of my criticism of the first games with the stealth portions with like MJ, or stuff that I didn't like. Those things I didn't like, but these particular instances that I'm talking about, where it's more narrative driven and trying to show you relationships, to me, I thought they worked. I thought the little gameplay stuff interspersed within them worked, just to give context for where these characters have been together, where they're going, kind of who they are as people, and how they are, if you're a fan of these characters in different iterations, how they're different in this Insomniac version. So I thought that was cool. There's some weird little gameplay things that they implement that kind of feel like one-offs. Yeah. Like there's like a basketball shooting mechanic.
Yeah. Did you make your shot? Did you beat your miss?
See, at first I was like, do I even try to? And I didn't realize I could control it. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can control it. So I only hit one basket.
Yeah, I was like, man, because now I'm like, damn, I want to know if I made it and beat him, if I get a trophy for that.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, right, and that might be a trophy or something that you go back to. Whatever.
I beat him, you don't get no trophy.
You don't get no trophy.
Thank you, King, for clarifying very quickly.
But it's just cool stuff like the fall damage. I don't know if any of y'all got the splat trophy, and because I went to the highest building I could find and just jumped off and then did the dive right down, and it was funny because you just kind of crash. But I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm excited to see where they go with Craven and with Venom and that. I think it's a great game. And I haven't had the issues that other people have had. So, and that happens, right? Sometimes people's experiences with the game just differ so much, and it's like, what the heck happened? People talk about crashing to desktop, crashing to the home screen and stuff like that. So, I'm enjoying what I've seen so far. I'm interested to, shout out to Hogue. Hogue had put out, kind of a little statement on Twitter talking about how he feels like the storytelling and how Sony games approach to narrative is sort of overindulgent and bloated, and it shows you, instead of just having you infer things, it kind of treats their audience maybe like they're a little dumb, that they have to expound on every single little emotional beat. And I get it. At the same time, this isn't like the storytelling I don't think is as refined as maybe a Last of Us or that, because it is Spider-Man. It does have to be more broadly appealing, I think. So I get it when they sort of maybe treat you like you're a little dumb or you're a little, immature, and kind of explain something that's maybe obvious.
They're just pandering to their audience.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily mind that so much, but maybe it'll be more grating on me as I go along in the game. But so far, 5 or 6 hours in, I am thoroughly enjoying Spider-Man 2. I really am.
Doubt. Lord King, this is the one I've been waiting for, because obviously you are a huge Spider-Man fan. You are our resident lore when it comes down to the comics, on what's authentic, what's accurate. Spider-Man 2018, I believe you had his game of the year. You dressed up, you called your shot, you said it was going to do whatever, it did it. So I got to know, I am very, because I know you are passionate about this game. Hold on, let me put the camera on you.
I'm still here, so I don't think I'm gone. I'll still check you.
Listen, well, first.
Okay.
Addict, this is for you.
Oh, we bended the knee? Oh, the knee has been bent, y'all. I can't remember what the bet was. Oh, because it didn't come out on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a man of his word. He's a man of his word.
There you go. You got your knees.
No doubt. Salute.
All right, so
That's the second pair of knees.
oh well, you know, next year it'll come out on PlayStation 4. So I get the
Didn't get the knee back.
King is right 88% of the time.
88 went down 88?
That's where I sit.
It's 98%. 98, right, Spidey? Yes, 98. For all you frauds out there, day one, I got this. Not the remaster. Day one, PlayStation 4. By the way, this Peter Parker is the better Peter Parker. That other dude, throw that guy away.
You mean the actor, the
face model?
The face model.
We're not happy with what happened.
The face, his neck is stiff, his face is ugly. I don't like this dude. I don't like him. This is Peter Parker. He's here.
He's there.
In this version, do not get the remaster. That other dude is an imposter. He looked like he up to no good. His neck is wrong. Everything's wrong with that dude.
I think they updated it.
I think they updated it. Like if you haven't connected to the internet, you might be able to still play it like that. But I think they just updated it.
If you update it and play it without the patches,
you know what Tobey Maguire?
I don't want that. I don't want that dude.
No,
that
that's straight Tom Holland right there.
Tom Holland, excuse me, Tom Holland.
He's not even Tom Holland.
He's in between. Yeah,
he's somebody else. This one, dope. Day one, as soon as it came out, I was there.
Miles, let's go.
Same thing with this one. Day one, as soon as it came out, I'm there. I saw the bugs and the glitches and the stuff online, and I was just like, I hope it's not that. Hope it's not that. I don't care. So when I was going to work, got up at like around 2 o'clock in the morning, put my joint to download, left my PlayStation on, left. Came back home, started playing at like around 11 o'clock that day. Everybody's asking me, did you play or whatever? And I had like put out a little PSA on Twitter about just keep the same energy, you know, with Starfield.
I saw it.
I see all these people talking about, oh, it got little bugs here or there. It's not a big thing. It's 10. Hey, every game has bugs. Okay. When it was Starfield, it was Microsoft needs to worry about quality control. Microsoft needs they're mismanaging everything. Todd Howard needed to hold this game back. And I played Starfield, and I came across one bug. That was the bug where the girl I was with, I think it was Sarah.
Yeah, she was on the table.
She was floating.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, how the hell do I get her to stop floating? and I just I had went up to space and came back down. She was still floating. And I just kicked her off my team. And then when I got her back, she was no more float.
You sent her back to Constellation. Continue.
Right, yeah. So all right, cool. That was the one bug. And I play that game, you know, I play it at my pace.
Yeah.
I'm not playing it at some competition.
Yeah, but you got a lot of hours in Starfield.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, I'm loving every bit of it. I didn't even finish the game yet. But I'm doing things in it. Every day I try to do something. All right, so Spider-Man.
Let's go.
Get to Spider-Man. As soon as I'm playing, I'm super happy about it because I'm a Marvel head. Yes. And I take these games
about the evil jets
as nah, what he eat don't make me blink. So I take these games as comic books, right? So each comic book is a new chapter into something else. The DLC for Spider-Man 1 was the best. The story was the best. The games, I can't even say I ran into any bugs in the first one. Can't even say I ran into any bugs in Miles. Quality, top notch. I'm talking about AAA. This is when they talk about bangers, when you have these dudes talking about bangers, not the dudes that's trying to land on gas planets and talk about why can't I land on a gas planet?
You messy. Continue.
Like, how stupid can you be? Like, how, bro. Anyway, all right, yeah, right, yeah. We know who you talk about, right? land on a gas planet, dummy.
Stop shooting on a Sunday. Continue.
Pow, pow,
Pow, pow.
He's down. So I play Spider-Man 2, and I'm so happy. First, it's like this first mission after we do the big thing with Miles, but I was noticing little things, prompts.
Yeah.
Right. I go to hit the prompt. It ain't hitting.
It ain't doing that.
I'm like, yo, I'll press the button though. I'm like, okay, do this. Bring up your camera to take pictures. I have to manually go into my menu to pull up the camera because my swipe wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's a little bit of an inconvenience, right? All right, okay, cool. Then it was this point where I was trying to fight somebody, and he was stuck in the floor.
Oh.
And I could hear him. I mean, he's shooting at me. He's shooting at me, but I can't shoot at him. And I can throw boxes, but it ain't gonna get him. And he down there talking bad crap. Yeah, Spider-Man, I'll kill you. Like, if you don't get out that dirt. So I had to go back.
Load the checkpoint.
Reload the checkpoint, come back in. And my son was with me. My son said, Daddy, get him first. Because he like to hide in the dirt.
Your son trying to help you avoid the glitch.
Yo, he's like, yeah, because he was sitting there because he heard about the glitches all day. So I got the guy, and that saved it, right? Yeah, it's of the glitches.
Your son trying to act like he's the one that started the glitch. He's the king of glitches.
He's the guy. That's the culprit.
So I have encountered 4 glitches, and 4 glitches that were. And I'm not talking about clipping. I'm not talking about some other stuff that goes on, like running through cars or running through people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about stuff that make me say, damn, I was on a good roll. Now I got to reset or I got to die to start this over.
Game progression. I agree.
And I'm like, how come none of these reviewers is talking about this? I don't want none of y'all talking that ACG talk. He the only one that got the pass. He put it out first. He who smelt it, dealt it. He's the one who put it out first. He get the pass. You other dudes trying to jump on the bottom of that tweet, talk about, yeah, I heard about that too, and I didn't. No.
Okay.
You not getting the pass, bro. Like, your fandom is at an all-time high. You trying to save these dudes from burning. You trying to run in the burning building and trying to save them. Like I saved my baby.
I want to know how a game gets worse after the day 1 patch. Like,
I know how. That's when your company's in turmoil.
Oh,
when
my
they
God.
on fire.
Oh, my Lord.
When they on fire. I've been yelling this forever. When are we going to look over at them and say, they're not the same guys?
I will give you that this is very surprising as the cops go by. I agree with you. That is very surprising that they're known for polish. And to your point, I know you're holding up the old Spider-Man.
These 2 games ain't got these issues.
I agree. I am surprised. Now, in fairness, I know y'all hate when I do corporate cog, but in fairness, it seemed that the reviewers may have played the pre-day 1 patch.
I don't care about that, guy. I don't care about you saw. I don't believe you, right? Because especially when somebody says, if it get anything less than a 9,